My name's Danny. I'm here today to introduce you to a new product that I'm very excited about. It's called Wet and Stick. I'm going to show you how you can use this Wet and Stick to save you a whole day's work. But first, my friend Luke here is going to come over and show you how they did it the old way. Okay, come on over, Luke.
First off, you have to put a bed coat on. Apply the tape on top of the bed coat. Make sure you have enough mud on the wall to do that. Then take down, you put the tape on top of it, and you smooth it out. You have to make sure you get all the air pockets out from behind the tape. It could bubble up your tape and give you a bad finish. And that would be your bed coat.
And now you would have to, how long would you have to wait, Luke, before you put another coat of spackle on there?
You'd have to wait at least a day, depending on the humidity in the air.
If it's applied correctly, you will have no bubbles whatsoever. I'm going to give you a little demonstration on that. Okay? You take your piece of tape, you run it in the water, you submerge it like I told you. Don't matter if the outside gets wet. You come over to your seam, and you put your line on the middle of the seam. Okay? You line your seam up. You take your finger and you run it down that seam. You hold the tape in place. They can move around because the glue is movable for a little bit. You run your finger down that middle. That's very important. Then you smooth out the tape. And what I do is one more time go down the center. That way you know that it's sticking to the board. Once that is stuck in there, 20 minutes later, this tape adheres to the drywall outside tape, which they become one. It's a special glue that when it dries, it becomes one piece. So if you try to pull this off, it'll pull the paper of the wallboard off. Now, like I said about the strength and how there's no compound, how this adheres to the drywall paper, the drywall itself, I'm going to show you by peeling this piece that's been on here for a little while. See how it's pulling the drywall paper off the drywall as you pull it? Because it adhered as one together. I'm just going to show you on here also, this has only been on here for about 10 minutes. Not even 10 minutes, and look what it's doing. It's peeling the drywall paper off the drywall. That's just 10 minutes.
When you're putting the tape on the wall with the butt joint, you're gonna have areas where you have a dimple in the tape, and you want to make sure that you put that in there because that means it's adhering to both pieces, and it makes a solid bond between both pieces that isn't going to move. And once the house settles, once it's spackled, this all becomes one piece because the wet and stick tape adheres to the surface of the paper, and once it's adhered, it's not going to go anywhere. In typical installation, you're putting a bed coat and it's sitting on top of the spackle, and if the house settles or the wall's moving, you're going to get crack lines along your seams. You don't get that with the wet and stick.
When I do corners, it's the greatest. I'm going to show you how I do a corner my way. I measure out my corner roughly. Okay, you take the tape, it has a crease in it as you see here, and I just run it right down like that. See how fast that was? What I do is I fold it like this. Okay, I put this into the bucket. I submerge it in the water all the way. You don't have to worry about wetting the outside, whatever. Now you see your crease. You push it into the corner, nice, all the way down in the corner. Get your corner set in there. Then you just take your hand and you rub each side. You don't need no knife. You want your hands because you get all the wrinkles out that way. Now, look how fast and easy that was. This is set in 20 minutes. You put your mud on. Tomorrow you come back, one more coat, and you're done. You sand it, you paint it, that's it. Now we also have, they have a corner tool that you can run down if you want to put it on, like if you're doing high spots and you can't reach, and you just put this in a corner and it has wheels on it, and you run it up and down, and it smooths everything out. That makes sure you get all your seams tight to the wall, and that's it. That's all it's done. And you're ready to go.
Another advantage to the wet and stick is, I know all your contractors know when you first get to the job, you got to pull everything out of your truck. If you're going to be mixing up the compound, you're going to have to pull out the paddles to mix the compound, the drills, your tools for your first coat, your hawks, your knives, your bins to hold your spackle. All this has to come out of the truck, and that's going to take some time. You don't have to with the wet and stick. All you have to do is come in with a roll of the wet and stick an applicator or a bucket of water, whatever you prefer, and you can get started on the room. You're saving a lot of time without schlepping all of that stuff into the house. Also, another advantage to the wet and stick is you don't have to be a seasoned contractor to put it on. You could hire someone, cheap labor, have him come in, someone who's inexperienced, show him once or twice on how to apply it, have him set it up. He could measure out pieces of tape for you, get them wet, put them on the wall for you, and you're saving yourself time and money by giving yourself someone who doesn't need to be a spackler. I've used wet and stick before finishing a basement, and you save so much time with the wet and stick. You start on one part of the basement and work your way around the room, and by the time you get to the end of putting on the wet and stick, you can go back and start spackling the tape you put on in the beginning. And by the end of the first day, you have the wall taped and spackled, and you're good to go. By the second day, you put the second coat on, and within 3 days, you can have the job done, as opposed to what would typically take 4, 5, 6 days for all the different layers of spackle to dry.
Available to apply wet and stick, we've come up with the wet and stick applicator we call the saturator. We put the roll on the spindle, we thread it through the reservoir. It comes up and out and is wet as you pull it out. And you can use it either via the handle, or you can put it on your waist or pocket, as I have here. And we have a strap here to stabilize, make sure that the reservoir doesn't leak or move when you pull the roll.